Hi, my name is Dr. Azza. I'm a veterinarian. I've been practicing veterinary medicine in the Tampa Bay area since 2001. I owned a couple of clinics here in Tampa, and I'm very passionate about pets, pet medicine, pet training, pet grooming, all the pet services in general. And I'm so excited to meet with Sam today with Canine Uplifted. And I would like for Sam to go ahead and introduce herself as well.
Hi guys, my name is Sam Flament. I own Canine Uplifted, which is a positive reinforcement service dog training company located in Lakeland, Florida. And we've been open for just a little over a year now, but I do have a background in medical service dog training as well as basic obedience training.
That's great. That's awesome. Sam, can you talk a little bit more about what you exactly do for behavior? Behavior and dog training is just so essential for pets right now, for dogs and cats. And it's like almost like a big issue for pet owners. This is something that I get asked about day in and day out in practice. And veterinarians are not trained to actually do behavior and dog training, but the pet owners expect us to know. And so I want you to go ahead, to go over all that and tell us exactly how to go about this and how to educate pet owners on pet training and where to go and how can we collaborate with vet clinics to make that a lot easier on pet owners.
Oh, absolutely. So, something that I like to tell all of my clients first and foremost is that every single moment that you spend with your animal is a teachable moment. So, whether you realize or not, every moment you're teaching them something good or even maybe reinforcing something bad. I have a lot of clients that they come with me with the behavior that their dog is jumping on them when they come through the door, and they don't want their dog to jump on them when they come through the door. But I always break it down to why are we having this problem? Where does it stem from? And more times than not, when you come home after a long day, your dog is jumping on you because you're so excited to see them and you're also contributing to that energy. So you're teaching the dog, okay, when I come home, you're going to get to say hi to me and jump all over me. And so now you're accidentally training a behavior that you're not realizing you are.
Oh my God, you brought something that happens in my house on a daily basis. So I have my dog Leonard, he's about 2 years now. And I was going to ask you honestly about the jumping issue. He doesn't jump just on me. Any friends that come over or relatives or kids that come, the first thing he does, jump on them.
Right.
And of course, me as a vet, like, hey, no jumping down, the regular stuff. And it seems like it doesn't work. Say, I keep repeating that, but somehow that doesn't work as well. And also another problem, like whenever the UPS guy or Amazon guy comes to the house, he start working and being protective. And this is, I think it's just a very common problem. And some people think it's okay for them to do that. And it's okay for them to jump on other people or to bark at the UPS guy because they envision them as a threat to the house. Is this like normal behavior? We should just let our dogs be okay. Should our dog do that? Or is this like etiquette? Because they have to have dog etiquette. Can you teach us about what's dog etiquette and what we can do about it and what's really acceptable? Like a social norm. We don't have a social norm for dogs. Pet owners are not really educated about that. I want Sam to be the one to teach people about the social norm and etiquette for pet behavior. And I'm so interested in that topic because I think that now I have the puppy and I'm lost. Like I'm a vet and I'm also having creating my own vet and
Yeah.
she bought and now I'm talking to the expert and I'd love to and I think after this podcast, you're gonna be hired to train my dog.
Perfect. To answer your question, all animals, but specifically dogs, they're going to look for ways to communicate with us. And because we communicate differently, obviously, a dog isn't going to be able to speak to us and they don't really understand what we're saying when we speak to them. So they're going to find ways that they're going to communicate. And that will either be with body language, like the jumping, or using their voice, which is their barking. So even though it's a behavior that we see as a problem, they're seeing it as a way to communicate. And if we've accidentally conditioned them to get the reward of communication by doing those behaviors, they think that's what they're supposed to do. So the barking, yeah, it's not the most desirable behavior for the dog to have. Some people like it. Some people want the dog to alert to them and let them know if someone's at the door, or even with my medical alert dogs, they alert if blood sugar is too high or too low. Barking definitely has its place. You just have to figure out when you would want to train your dog to do it. And there's different ways that you can go about doing that.
So it's acceptable in certain ways, except like certain people wouldn't want him to bark at, like the Amazon guy every day or the UPS people. They feel like threat. I feel sad for them. So there is a way for you to train them that to distinguish between a threat and some, because now they're not distinguishing between both, like between a threat or a normal activity that happens every day. So they're barking constantly at anyone. So this is amazing that we know that there is tools in training that can help pets be calmer when friends and delivery people come in, but also know when there is a threat. So this is really fascinating. And how long does it take to actually train a dog? Let's say the jumping issue or the barking, excessive barking issue. How long does it take you to get a dog trained and in their way to be know what to do? But also, how do you have to talk a little bit about training the owner? Because I feel like the problem is us, not the dogs too. Most of the time, it's not just training the dog, but how can we train not just the pet owner or the mom and dad, but the entire family? I wanted to talk a little bit, how can the kids, the parents, everybody in the household have to collaborate to get the training done as fast as possible?
Absolutely. We did touch base a little bit on every moment is a teachable moment, but another really important thing to remember about training is consistency. A large portion of training is consistency. As long as you're consistent with something, you can train a dog to do pretty much anything. So everyone in the home has to be on board. Otherwise, the dog is going to be given different cues and get confused on what is acceptable and not acceptable, or what the actual desired behavior is. If everybody is consistent, dogs can be trained fairly quickly, especially if you're using their reward is what they're most likely wanting. Some dogs love treats. They're super food motivated. You get a lab, a golden, they're going to do anything for a treat. And some dogs just love to be praised and told they're good. You good job. That was such a good job doing that. So it just depends, but finding what they work best for and then being super consistent with it is key to training them quickly. So I have a lot of my clients that like to send the dogs to my home to board with me so that I can train the dog because I know I'm going to be consistent. But then we have to reintegrate the dog into the home and make sure that the owners, including the children, know the proper way to give the commands and to treat the dog so that they can be consistent with the training as well. So it just really depends. If everyone's on board in the house, training can be done really quickly. If not, it may take a little bit longer.
I see your point because I know my kids and my husband are horrible. I'm consistent, but like to sneak and do the opposite. And a lot of my clients face the same problem too. It's a common problem. But I'm sure by being firm and given solid instructions to every pet owner and what to do. And also, I'm sure you go like you see progress, right? You monitor progress on how they're doing, and you can feel if actually the household are doing their job being consistent or not, right?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
you probably going to take the dog back, make sure that the commands are, done or all that stuff. I just want you also to go over like how long does it take if you board a pet at your house? I'm sure there's options, whether you give them instructions and they can follow that at their home or they choose to be at your facility. So for let's say for a barking or jumping problem, and I want to go into depth also for biting issue or territorial issue. I want you to go in depth on all that stuff because I want you to go and like common problems. We wanted to talk about common behavioral and training problems for not just dogs, but also for cats. But people don't realize that cats are get so sensitive and get stressed out. So I wanted to go over not just jumping and not just barking, but a lot of common issue for pets. And then also we'll start with that. But and then the next step, we wanted to know how long does it take and how long have we be consistent to get the amazing end results for us?
Oh, of course. I have a very clingy cat, so I apologize. She keeps making me over it. She just wants to be with mommy. So, yes, cats and dogs are very similar in ways. They're also very different. So, I studied particularly canine ethology, which is the study of the behavior of dogs. So I understand dogs a little bit more than cats as far as education, but I'm a cat person, so I love my cat. They're the same with consistency, but also I think one of the main things that I run into when I'm working with clients that just are having issues with their animals or they're ready to give up. They've done everything, nothing's working. The main thing is people don't realize that animals communicate so differently and they have different needs than we do. And let's say your cat is starting to spray all over the house. It's figuring out why the cat is doing it. It's not because it's just wanting to do that to make you mad. There's most likely a reason on why they're doing it. And remembering to break down what the behavior basis is to me is important. So with my company, we're 100% positive reinforcement. So instead of using any kind of tools or any kind of
Spray bottle.
yeah, yeah, I stray away from that.
Honest-
Just and it works. I'm not
it's-
going to say that tools aren't effective. I worked for training companies in the past that did use tools like slip chains and spray bottles, and they're not really harming the animal that much. But for me, after studying canine ethology, I realized these are just beings. They're beings just like us. They have needs, they have feelings, and if they're having a behavior that is an issue, why don't we take the time to figure out why? They're having that issue. Sometimes it's veterinarian. I'm sure you know that. Sometimes there's a medical condition that's underlying that you can't see. Animals are not going to normally show when they have a weakness because then they would become prey, right? So an animal can be suffering for quite some time before they're actually showing signs that there's something going on. It's important to be in touch with the veterinarian as well as getting with a behaviorist or a pet trainer to see why is this behavior starting or why is my dog or cat doing this.
That is really very important. When you touched on also not just the behavioral, some of the behavioral issue really originates from medical issue as well. For example, for cats with urinary tract infection,
Mhm.
the first thing we need to do a UA test, like urine analysis, make sure that there is not an infection there or GI problem or any other problem, medical issue stresses the pet, and that can lead to it's almost like in a way, letting the pet owner know, hey, I'm suffering. There's something not normal here.
Right.
So it's not 100. So when the pet comes to me, and there's, oh, my pet is like peeing out of the litter box. I don't know why. That's not normal for them. The first thing we need to do, well, of course, we want to rule out behavior and has been done that before. This normal for them. But if not behavioral, then we have to focus immediately and jump on how can we rule out any medical issue. So I 100% agree, even for dogs and for cats as well.
Right.
So not every behavioral issue or in pets is just behavioral, but also could be medical. And I hope that a lot of pet owners would understand that as well too, so they can be a little bit easy on themselves and the pets as well too, because they can say, "Oh, it's my fault. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. That's my pet is doing this." But it could be something that needs attention immediately. And this is when it comes to I want to go over about the medical issue and accessibility to vet services. I'm a veterinarian. I work in clinics in a daily basis, but also have app or telehealth app called Pet Harmony app. And my app really is designed to connect live veterinarian to pet owners 24/7. And basically, pet owner can have instant consultation, let's say for behavioral issue, or let's say if you have a behavioral issue and you wanted to know if it's really medical or a behavioral problem. Like if they go to a grooming and then they get a razor burn or a little bit of skin infection and they don't know what to do or the vet's office is closed. So we have live veterinarians 24/7 with no appointment, instant access to actually help a training facility like yours, grooming facility at resorts and all that stuff. And so that's so important to know that in addition to behavioral, also it's so important for business like yours to also to have accessibility to veterinary advice and recommendation at all the times.
Yes.
It enhances your business and gives pet owner really a peace of mind that knowing that, oh, if it's not behavioral, what it is. Should I go to the emergency now or should I just wait until next week? And then you talk to the owner. So between the behaviorist like yours or the training like the trainer like yours and the doctor, we can decide immediately with very low cost what is the issue. So it is so important that training, grooming, any pet services have communication and accessibility, and it has to be affordable so pet owners can have a peace of mind and can have access to complete pet care. I think that is so important, and it seems like it's a silo. Everybody works in silo. The training companies by themselves, the grooming companies by themselves, the vet clinic by themselves, and it seems like from my 24 years of experience, we never communicate. And I came up with the solution. I was like, how can we not communicate? This is like the pet. Like we need to offer the best pet care possible and make sure the client and the pet owners at peace. And that's our job to take care of that. So I'm so happy that you have a lot of experience and knowledge about how to recognize if it's medical and behavioral, and it's we're not just focusing on train a dog, and then at the same time there's a lot of underlying problems that we're not aware of because we're not reaching out to a vet service.
And this is I think that this is amazing what you've created because I go to so many consultations and I can see the dog's body language. They do different things, the way that their eyes are moving, how is their body language, is their tail tucked, are they nervous, are they showing anxiety? And sometimes I can see that it may be something medical. And so I have to let the owner know you really need to contact your vet and figure out if it's XYZ before we begin training. And sometimes that can take a while. Sometimes I don't hear back until weeks later because they had to get the vet appointment. So having something that can be done so quickly and they're able to figure it out right then is going to be, honestly, I think life changing.
I agree with you. And we tried it with other services, and people are so excited.
So I'm
We
sure.
tried it with moving service, and there is like a pet that got a little bit of razor burn, and another one that they clipped it to a little short. When got home, started bleeding, stuff like that. The vets were able to help online without going to the ER, spending tons of money or waiting in line for hours or days to get in for a very simple issue that can be resolved actually innocently
Right.
with no appointments. You just click in, get in the app, ask the question with a chat or video, and then you have a live vet. It's almost like you have your own vet at home at 24/7.
Yes.
And the great things about that too, it's very affordable. It's like 14.99. It's $15 to get to ask your questions and get the answer immediately. And also we have a subscription model that is 99 a month. That is 24/7, 365 days a week, a month, a year. It's constant help. You're always going to be there. The max wait that you're going to wait for wait, if they're so overwhelmed and busy, it would be like a minute or 60 seconds. They're always going to get you right away. So instead of pre-booking and getting on there and all that stuff. So I think it's just really collaboration will lead to almost elevate how we do pet care.
Right.
So how to elevate that? It's just not the only way is just go to my clinic so I can treat them. That's no, there's other ways these days. There's technology, there's innovation that can lead to comprehensive care without going necessary to a physical clinic. Most of, I would say 40, 50% of a lot of questions can be just really answered online without going and spending tons of money, but not even the financial part, which is a burden for a lot of pet owners and prevent pet owners from adopting and buying, getting pets, which is sad because, and I'm sure you agree with me that pets provide amazing emotional
Yeah.
support. We have a lot of mental health issues for our kids, adults, and all that stuff. And having pets, it changes people's life. And then for us, to have that kind of support and collaborate together to get the pet owner a way to have an accessibility, affordability, like affordable, accessible way, an immediate way to talk to a veterinarian and to talk to a trainer and to be with a groomer, that would be impressive. So that's just our goal. And I feel like we're both aligned on that mission. We both wanted to make sure that the pet owners are comfortable and happy
Yeah.
and not scared of adopting pets.
Yes.
but also we want our pets to be happy and healthy because they provide and give us so much peace, so much emotional support, so much happiness. I don't know what I would do without having dogs in my life or cats in my life. I think I would not be the same person. It's almost like even when I was practicing as a veterinarian, it was like, oh, have you seen a shrink ever? You don't. I was like, no, my shrink are like the pet. I go, like I see the pet, I just they kiss me, hug me, and that's my therapy every day. So
Yeah.
I look forward to my go into my practice so I can just love on them, and they give me so much love back
Yeah.
that I feel like it grounds me.
Yeah, absolutely. To rewind just for a moment to echo what you said about how important animals are for mental health, one of my favorite sayings is that animals are medicine. And I truly believe that animals really are such a form of medicine. I just wanted to share that with you. But yes, definitely. I feel like this goes hand in hand. I think it's important to have both. And I guess now it's just figuring out how we can create a bridge to connect the two, veterinary care with behavioral care, because, for example, if I'm speaking to my clients, I don't know their veterinarian. I can't call their veterinarian, say, I'm seeing the dog or the cat present this, it could possibly be this. But if I am working with a veterinarian myself or through my company, then that kind of bridges that gap. So I'm able to reach out to someone on my team or that I'm paired with and say, doing this, what are your thoughts? Or even the veterinarian can get in touch with the trainer and say, we don't believe that it's any of these different medical causes. We've done labs, we've done this. What are your thoughts? Could it be something else? So I think bridging that gap is important and honestly can be so life changing for a lot of health problems.
Oh, I love what you just said about pets are medicine. This is I really honestly, this is the first time to hear that. So I love that. I'm gonna borrow it to talk about if it's okay. Pets are the Prozac of the mental health and the medicine for everyone. So that's wonderful. I love that. And sometimes also I want to go over the problems that the pets sometimes facing. It's sometimes it's a combination between medical issue as well, and I see it a
Yeah.
lot in the clinics. So it's not behavioral. Sometimes there's a lot of underlying issue contributing to the problem. And if the vet and the trainer communicate, that's supposed to be the way to do it. The results will be almost immediate and very effective because the vet doesn't know what's going on behaviorally, and then vice versa. We're not really giving the right comprehensive diagnosis and advice to resolve the issue. And I don't know if you see that as a problem as well too, because I've noticed we're almost disconnect. Like I mentioned earlier, we're working on silos. So you do your thing, I'm not communicating, we don't get the right diagnosis, so we don't treat effectively. So I wanted
Yes.
to know how can I came up with the app and like all that stuff, but also make it complete and comprehensive because my clients from my experience on that app ask for a lot of issue. And that's why I was so excited to talk to you because how can we even train vets? We can train trainers and also to understand, hey, you should look at symptoms or if you're not behavioral, assume probably medical, and then vice versa as well. If the vets think that, oh, this is behavioral and you should talk to Sam about it. So how can we do that? I think there is a lot of ways in how we can integrate. It's really integrate and communicate with vets and then so this way, and my clients can communicate and actually get so much better quality of care for pets and peace of mind for pet owners. So this is an
Yes.
essential issue. It's simple. It sounds simple, but it's not. And it's not. Everybody does their own thing. You go to the ER, you go to the training, you go to the grooming, and there's no kind of one service that takes care of the problem. So I want you to what's your thoughts on that besides like that, the easy integration, the affordability of finding a vet now. So the cost is not going to be an issue in our Pet Harmony app. And you can see us at petharmonyapp.com and you can get the app. It's a web app, really easy to install. I'm going to have to mention it's $14.99 call to get the price and $9.99 if you want to become a member for unlimited calls, which is like a Starbucks coffee cup. So I just wanted to know, like, how can we make it better at pet owners? And what else can we do beside the app? And what can we integrate even more in the app so we can become one for the sake of helping others?
I think people don't know what they don't know. And a lot of people adopt pets and they think they know the basics and they tend not to really know the actual basics. So I think just getting pet owners what I would consider basic information. So understanding that dogs or cats communicate differently, understanding how to read their body language. We think we know that a tucked tail means ABC when really it means XYZ. So just informing the clients, there could maybe be an area on the app that is different guides of information. We could do behavioral is if your animal's displaying this behavior. We could also do like basic reading on body language. You could even do a puppy is going to act different than a dog that's in the adolescent years versus a senior dog. All of those behaviors are going to read differently and they're going to act differently depending on their age. A lot of the time we see pets being surrendered to shelters when they're in that stage where people like to say they're like velociraptors. And that's the stage where they're no longer cute little teeny puppies. They're not quite adults. They know right from wrong, but they're going to test their boundaries. And that's when people want to give up. So just allowing them to have how to deal with the dogs or can help them in the home before they really need to maybe contact a trainer or contact a veterinarian. They can have that information first and foremost within the app.
So you're saying that the understanding the dogs and the pet's language, that's a
Yes.
science. And a lot of people don't understand that. They assume, oh, it's a puppy. I'm going to pet him. They're going to listen. And of course, that's not true. And also
Yeah.
the remember COVID, people went and adopted,
Mhm.
like the adoption rate went what, 30% or more
Yep.
during
Yeah.
COVID. And after COVID, people abandoned their pets because shelters, the pet scheme was also behavioral issue, but support and didn't know where to go. Like they didn't have Sam everywhere in there. Sam was not like like it has to be a scalable model. So like how can we have access to all the pet owners and instead of the regional or local? And how can we scale it and streamline it so it will be a basic stuff for every pet owner that adopt a pet? We can create like a system for them.
Yes, and digitally. That way it's easy to get to. You always have it on hand on your phone. It's not a booklet or pamphlet that gets thrown away or you forget where you placed it. A lot of the times at adoption centers, they'll give you a folder full of
Yeah.
information, but you
Yeah.
bring that home and do you ever see it again? Yeah. So to have something electronically on your phone that you can refer back to or just have at the tip of your fingers when you need it, I think that would be amazing,
And
honestly.
that's what our app actually provide. You can actually store info and we can add a lot of we're collaborating together to make it much easier, right? Between our knowledge, you as a trainer, we're trying to collaborate to put a system, amazing system and sound system together for all pet owners, not locally, nationally as well. And so how can we do that? This is so important. And every pet owner need to understand basic training so there's basically basic the talking to a pet or a cat. Then the next is like it will be a tier system, but at least the basic things will be available to every pet owner for just looking at that. And then if they need more training, then we are available between collaborating with your training skills and our veterinary team. And I feel like that's the best way to approach it. Otherwise, it will be fragmented. Okay. And then the pet owner is not going to get the best outcome, and the pet will not get the best outcome as well, too. And if you can give your thoughts about that, like how can we and and I know behind the scene, we're working together on collaborating on that and syncing a little bit out and instead of working a little bit like silo and all that. How can we meet today is rules quality or pet care quality, but also the owner's anxiety. Because I'm a pet owner now, like I got a puppy and I have an anxiety every day. Every time my dog Leonard jumps on someone, I feel like so embarrassed. Hey, here's the vet, and her dog is just like acting up. And I should have a basic stuff to look, but also people are very busy, have busy schedule and all that stuff. Like if we provide them something like our Pet Harmony app that have all the training tips, they can just
Mhm.
literally access the app and get everything they need until they get to a professional, to a higher and more exclusive and intensive training. But the basics should be just. What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, I agree completely. I definitely would love to work behind the scenes to really develop something that would be cohesive and not be fragmented, like you mentioned that it is. And I think also getting the opinion of other pet owners is where are they having trouble and how could they, how do they think it could help them and just get some more opinions.
Yeah. And then with what we get from owners, like requests and questions, gives us like a little bit idea of, and a lot of it is just like a very common issue. If it's really the basic issues are covered, the owner like much happier.
Yeah.
It alleviates all that anxiety from pet owners. And then if there's more to work on, that you do more in depth and all that stuff. So it's
Right.
great that we talked about behavior today, how important pets for us, how they're medicine for our well-being, mental health, to ground us and give us happiness. That is so important. And how it is important to collaborate for vets and trainers to collaborate together to get the best outcome. If you want to add anything or ask me any questions about how as vets can collaborate too, or what kind of issue have you been facing? Because I've been asking all the questions so far. So if you have any questions for me as a vet, maybe I can speak in behalf of the vets, but I don't know, maybe that's shouldn't be the case, but I have
Sure.
some more questions to the best of my ability.
Right. So this is an interesting question. So something that I've run into with my behavioral clients, I have all different areas in my training company, but my behavioral clients have a special place in my heart because I really want to get them to the point where their owners are happy and okay and don't feel like they're on their last thread. But something that I've noticed is that a lot of the dogs that I work with that have what is diagnosed as anxiety, they're then put on anxiety medication. And sometimes that anxiety medication can actually either make the behavior worse or it can develop an entire different behavior. That's another problem in itself. Gets a little tricky when I have a dog that's on medication and I'm trying to also find out, okay, why is this dog having what happened in its experience to trigger the anxiety while they're also on this medication? I guess I wonder in the veterinary world, what are the steps to go ahead and decide the dog needs medication rather than figuring out what the actual problem is and trying to fix that problem first?
This is excellent questions and something that I face every day in the practice. And as that 100% I could not see medicine as the first option, right? We should be aware and be able to, this is a behavioral issue. We need to fix it first, try everything else. And if it doesn't work, there is some cases that combination between medicine and behavior can be very effective. So I cannot just
Yeah.
eliminate and say, hey, all the medicine, the anti-anxiety medicine are bad for dogs. That's not true. Combination of both, Sam, could be very effective in a lot of cases, especially aggressive dogs, and we have to decide them and them are special need dogs that sometimes behavioral alone is not going to be 100%. It can get you to 70%, but if there's a trigger, without
Yes.
medication, that can cause to casualty. So this is why a lot of vets are so worried. I was like, oh yes, but how if I'm not trying to dance, but oh, how if the dog child, how the behavioral like cannot achieve that. But we feel like we need to protect pet owners at every cost. So we feel like, but that's why I have to go back and say collaboration,
Yes.
behavioral science and training, and veterinarians will get the best outcome. So because it
Yes.
could be just behavioral, if I talk to you and I would say, hey, we exhausted all the training, we did everything we could, and I highly recommend a mild dose of anti-anxiety, and we get 100% results. Or say no, let me see, because I feel like I bet I seen this problem before. And I think that behavioral might really help 100% to overcome this issue for certain pets. So at the end of the day, it's not the vet problem or the trainer problem. It's the communication issue that that's where we're creating that app for it. So it's a
Absolutely.
great point that you
Absolutely.
brought in. It's I'm gonna do what I know, and the trainer says I'm gonna do what I know. But sometimes that how can communicate to get the best outcome is what's so important.
Yes, I agree. It's a good example of why it's important to have those two areas collaborated because you can't really have just one sometimes. You may need both. But yeah, I guess that was just my question because it's hard for me to train a dog is heavily medicated because they're not in their regular state. But I'm also not a veterinarian, so I can't tell them to no longer have the medication. And like you said, sometimes absolutely need it or something terrible.
But I agree with you that if you're drugging him up, time becomes, how is he going to even respond? Because he's like, no, you're suppressing or the neurological responses. So how are they going to be responding to your training steps and what to do and all that? So it is take
Right.
forever response to your training. So I 100%
Yeah.
agree. But like I said, communication, using technology and tools to communicate effectively because you're not going to, unfortunately, there's shortage of vets. Vets are overworking, but overworked, exhausted. They're so busy. It's just so hard to also find time to talk to groomers and training and all that and trainers. What we need to do is how can we have technology to actually solve issues like this, the issues, because we cannot have vets are doing so much. Like the vets are anesthesiologists, surgeons, internal medicine, you name it. We're just
Yeah.
like overwhelmingly so people expect so much out of and you don't understand that we can innovate how veterinary medicine and veterinary behavior and we can elevate that by using technology. And I think is the solution, not blaming the vet clinic next door because they're not calling us back because they have 100 cases on their hand that they need and clients like sitting in the lobby waiting to be seen. So how is the vet gonna and the technician running like insane. That's just my daily thing. That's what I experience every day. I'm still working as a vet, and I see that every day. Don't have a minute in a day, and hardly we get lunch. So for us, we have to seek other ways to communicate. And I think there is now the technology is amazing on it, and we already have live vets. We already have live vets that we can be trained. You said, hey, there's training tips. There is certain language that basic stuff that pet owners and pets can communicate. And this will start with that. You can answer the pet owner's questions anytime, depending and getting all this, like depending on vets every day. And I think by having people understand that too, and because people also have a habit of they're used to, I'm just going to have to go to the clinic. I don't know if the online thing is there is not educated enough to know there could be as amazing results being online as well as just going to be in person. That saves money, that saves time, and that saves stress, like stressing the pet in the car or your cat that your cat have the sixth sense, like they will hide under the bed. No, and like I get a lot of clients. Where is that? And I guess today, oh, the cat didn't want to come out from under the bed today because the sixth sense. But you know that they're going somewhere, not going
Yeah.
to get some shots and stuff like that. And the same thing for dogs. They really they get stressed out. So there's a lot of things we can do without stressing the pets, stressing the owner, so stressing the financial resources from our pet owners as well. And that would be available to everybody, not just certain group of people. It's not going to be the elite that can afford training and vets. No, everybody can afford it. And that's my mission is to get everyone be able to afford veterinary care, behavior, training, all that stuff at the comfort of their home, their couch. Turn the phone on, they can have all that options in front of their eyes. And I think that was every pet owner's one. And
I love that. I think it's
yeah,
wonderful.
so we have a big mission to tell about it. We have to help pet owners. We have to help our pets. And behavior is in such and training. It's just like you're really teaching your child how to eat props to others, how to be polite, how not to lie, not to talk back. Like, it's just the same thing. For pets are the only difference between them that they don't speak, but need the same training like we do for our children. I'm so excited to be gay, and if any other questions, vet questions or medical questions or anything else that would help pet owners on this podcast, please let me know now. But also, we can do a lot more podcasts moving forward. If pet
Yes.
owners need a special certain topic, I'm happy to come back and we can talk about a topic at a time. How can we resolve certain issue for their pets? We're happy to collaborate and every pet in this world.
Yes. I would love to share all of my tips and tricks and try to have a happy, healthy pet. And
Yes, maybe we just pick a topic and that the client will talk about it. We'll get it ready on the app. Not we just talk about it on podcast, but we'll also be on the app accessible 24 365.
beautiful.
It was pleasure. It was really absolute meeting with you today and learning about your business, about what you do to help pets, and how much we need to collaborate together between vets and trainers and behaviorists. It is so important. So it was a pleasure, absolute pleasure talking with you, Sam. And guys, if you need training or behavioral options, go to Canine Uplifted and go to Sam. She is incredible and amazing and very knowledgeable. I highly recommend her. And also for any of your vets needs, go to Pet Harmony app, www.petharmonyapp, one word.com. And you can click on get the app and you'll be right there. You register, put your profile, you can upload medical record, you can record, whatever it is. So you don't even need to use the app right away. You just upload your to be stored. So when you travel or go anywhere or you need your vaccine record, it will be stored on the app. You can have access to it 24/7. Would love to have you anytime. And thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.